One of the top stories in today's Russian papers is Moscow's claim to have restored full control over Russia's Kursk region after defeating the remaining Ukrainian troops there. President Putin described this as victory, and the word victory appears in several papers this morning. What you won't find anywhere is anyone making the point that if Russia hadn't launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, there would have been no Ukrainian incursion into Kursk region, and Moscow wouldn't have needed to spend 264 days fighting to regain control of its own territory. It did so with the help of North Korean troops. A Russian military expert tells Moskovsky Komsomolets that the North Koreans fought in our uniforms with our weapons and that they will remain in the region, Kursk. In another article in the same paper, a reporter points out with obvious resentment Russia has a comprehensive strategic partnership treaty with North Korea. But there is also something called the Collective Security Treaty Organization. That's the military alliance and mutual security pact of 6 former Soviet states, Russia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan and Armenia, which hasn't helped Russia's so-called special military operation. How did the CSTO soldiers show themselves? All those friends who Russia rushes to save at the drop of a hat, does anyone know? The reporter doesn't have a good word to say about Donald Trump either. Then Trump announced, I'm all confused. He's constantly announcing something, but incoherently, so it doesn't really matter what he announced. And if America were to walk away from the Ukraine peace process, it would be good for us, for Russia, if it did. But might a peace deal on Ukraine be close? It doesn't sound like it. Izvestia quotes a Russian foreign ministry official, Rodion Miroshnik. The diplomat said it was hard to call the US peace initiative a plan as such, but there are approaches by America and work on these should be continued. Komsomolskaya Pravda. Officially, the Kremlin has indicated that discussions on a settlement will continue for as long as necessary. They are in no hurry. That's why probably more time will be needed to find common ground. A researcher at the Foreign Ministry's Diplomatic Academy tells Kommersant that for Russia a ceasefire with half-hearted adherence to the key demands is not an end in itself. For Moscow, it's crucial to secure a many-fold reduction in the size of the Ukrainian army and a major reconstruction of the Ukrainian political system. The war of nerves could drag on for months, even years, but this doesn't mean that Russia and the US are doomed to return to confrontation. On the contrary, discussions on Ukraine can serve as a symbolic impulse, a prologue to reviving dialogue in other areas. As Washington grows more tired of the position of Kiev, the question of the fate of Ukraine can be taken off the table, like half a century ago with Vietnam. And what about Steve Witkoff's talks in Moscow last Friday? Komsomolskaya Pravda notes Mr. Witkoff's radiant smile as he greeted President Putin, and smiles show an openness for dialogue.